So, a Grey's Anatomy star, Ellen Pompeo, explains why she chose to make money instead of pursuing a more diverse career. And the way I see this is basically kind of like going down the lines of being money hungry, but there's nothing wrong with that, right? Like, there's nothing wrong with focusing on money, especially depending on your specific personal finance situation. So, let's get into this story and go over it. So, for Ellen Pompeo, the decision to continue to play Dr. Meredith Grey on ABC's Grey's Anatomy for 15 seasons and counting has largely been a practical one. I made a decision to make money, Pompeo said on an episode of Spotify's Jamel Hill is Unbothered podcast, first reported by People. So Pompeo, 50, made a choice to put her family first instead of pursuing a more diverse and creative career. For me, personally, a healthy home life was more important than a career, she told Hill. I didn't grow up with a particularly happy childhood, so the idea that I have this great husband and these 3 beautiful children and a happy home life was really something I needed to complete. Grey's Anatomy has been a lucrative role for Pompeo. She's one of the highest paid women in Hollywood, earning more than $20 million a year, according to The Hollywood Reporter. So during season 14, she negotiated a deal for $575,000 per episode, a 7-figure signing bonus producing fees and back-end equity, among other perks. It was a groundbreaking moment for Pompeo, who spent years fighting to earn as much as her male co-stars, and in one instance, she asked to be paid $5,000 more than Patrick Dempsey, who played Grey's husband on the show for 11 seasons. And on principle, since she was the titular character, the studio turned her down. So for me, Patrick leaving the show in 2015 was a defining moment deal-wise. They could always use him as leverage against me. We don't need you, we have Patrick, which they did for years. That's super dirty. Like, that's like a really dirty kind of like negotiating situation. She told The Hollywood Reporter in 2018. So Pompeo didn't originally plan to stay on the show for very long. In fact, when her agent brought her the script for Grey's, she balked. I was like, I'm not going to be stuck on a medical show for 5 years, she said. Are you out of your mind? I'm an actress. But when Grey's became an immediate hit, Pompeo realized she wasn't going to find a better deal anywhere else, and she's okay with that. I knew coming up on 40, I don't want to be out there chasing things, running after things, begging, she told The Hill. I'd rather just see this as the blessing that it is. Which, by the way, that is a blessing, right? When you really like break it down, we're the point where like she's at now, getting paid nearly $600,000 per episode is insane, right? That is insane. Especially when you think about like there's people out there that are bringing in probably more views. Well, like, let's just use this as an example, right? One of the biggest YouTube creators in the world, which is Mr. Beast, right? He probably does not make the amount of money that she makes per episode that he does, right? Just based off like YouTube ad revenue, right? And that's not considering, all these different, revenue streams that he might have, but like just purely like based off like ad revenue, which is how she's basically making her money from the studios with the ad deals that they have on all the platforms and all that kind of stuff. He doesn't make anything near her, which is crazy when you really think about it, because he's able to bring in like 10, 20, 30 million views per episode basically, which none of these shows could even hope to match. None of these shows have the same impact as well. So it's just interesting to like really think about that. It's like, there's some people out there, that aren't actors or actresses, but they control a massive audience, but on like a per episode basis, make nothing compared to some of these mainstream actors or actresses. But either way, I think that you could really understand from this sort of situation is that she made a very calculated choice, right? She at first was very emotional. She was like, I'm an actress. I should be doing movies. I shouldn't be doing like some like medical TV show for 5 years. That's too long. Like, I don't want to get stuck in something, blah, blah, blah. Right? But she also realized pretty early on, especially when, the whole like mainstream hit of Grey's Anatomy, was that you also got to think about it too. How many people try to become an actor or actress and fail? How many people try to become an actor and actress and don't make a living doing it at all for the rest of their life, for like decades and decades and decades, to the point where they're living in a tent by the side of the street? Sometimes you just got to be honest with yourself. It's like, hey, what's going to make me money? What's going to make me a lot of money? And what's going to be more secure that I can guarantee that I am getting money into my wallet, into my bank account? And so it makes perfect sense that she would keep doing this show, because this amount of money you probably won't be able to make anywhere else, right? And the thing is, there's probably not going to be someone who would offer her like a movie star position, right? For like massive amounts of money. And even then, it's not going to even be worth it to her, right? Because that'd be like a one-time thing and it's done. Where right now, at this point of her life, she's making 20 million plus per year, right? So financially speaking, it's not even worth it to her to risk the lifetime deal pretty much that she has with this show, compared to do just like, single one-off movie deals here and there, if she were to even get offered it, right? Or to apply it. Like, it just wouldn't be worth it to her, right? Because the chances of her hitting a massive movie, like, starring in a movie and becoming a massive star, right? Where that movie is like, it's like a miracle, gets like, $1 billion in revenue or something like that. And she gets like residuals, and, dividends from that, and like just, continuous amounts of money from that, is very unlikely, right? Like, the types of movie stars that do that are extremely lucky, because I think there was like a saying out there that was like, a big hit movie is basically a miracle. It's like literally like a flip of a coin whether or not is actually going to make it into like mainstream theaters and get like massive amounts of revenue and do super well. So for her, in her situation, it makes perfect sense to basically, get the money, secure your financial foundation, secure your financial life, and just live a happy life, a secure life, right? There's nothing wrong with that, right? So I think anyone in her situation, or would be in her situation early on, take what is actually given to you, right? Like, like, if you get lucky enough to be offered a situation where you could like make money and like be like the starting blocks of something that might try to scale up, go ahead and just take it, right? Because, the worst thing that can happen is that you're just going to have to try again. But, maybe you get into her situation. It's like, hey, you take a bet, okay, it paid off, and it just keeps paying off. So just something to really think about. Don't always just like say no to things that just first come your way. Like, really think about it. It's like, you know what? If it doesn't really hurt you to try to do something, try to like better yourself, go ahead and do it.